And one person who will be at today's anti-live cattle exports protest in Sydney is the incoming Greens Senator Lee Rhiannon. Lee Rhiannon, thank you very much for coming in and speaking with us. Firstly, on the rallies today, if live exports are banned, what will you say to the tens of thousands of people who are going to lose their jobs?
Well, there certainly would be disruption in the first stage, but there can be many more jobs created in Australia. We need to remember that 40,000 jobs were lost within regional abattoirs over the 25 years from 1985 to now.
But if you could argue the state of the economy at the moment, the uncertainty, people with large cattle studs can hardly just close things down and change jobs in an instant.
Oh, look, that's absolutely the case, and this is the job of government. So this is where it is an issue of animal welfare. My colleague, Greens MP for Melbourne, Adam Bant, will be introducing a private member's bill for that ban to come in immediately. We're very conscious of the issue of jobs, and we're conscious of the work that the union has done to get jobs at abattoirs. Opening those regional abattoirs would make a great contribution.
Well, the RSPCA also wants Australian abattoirs to be banned from ritually killing animals without first stunning them. Would you support that move?
Oh, very much so. I think a lot of people thought that that's how the industry operated and have been quite shocked to hear that there are exceptions in Australia. So, yes, there does need to be some clean-up in this country, but getting those jobs back into Australia is the key.
Do you yourself eat meat?
No.
To another issue, this morning you've come under renewed attack from Labor MP Michael Danby. He's so infuriated with your stance on Israel that he's considering preferencing the Liberals ahead of the Greens at the next election. Let's first take a listen at what he said.
It was her grim sort of Stalinesque politics that I was referring to. A person who was a member of the Socialist Party of Australia, the pro-Moscow Communist Party, and who apologised for all of the Russian invasions, Soviet invasions of Afghanistan or Czechoslovakia, and never apologised, is a person who I think really should be held to a political account. And that's why I compared her sort of grim politics with the politics of Elena Ceausescu.
Now, he has actually said these comments before in Parliament. First of all, what's your response?
Oh, look, it's clearly insulting. Senator Bob Brown summed it up last week. He called it appalling. And it really, in many ways, is more a comment on Mr Danby himself, that he engages in slurs and misinformation. Yes, we, the Greens, are deeply committed to peace and justice for Israel, but we're also committed to the human rights of the Palestinians.
But is that a worry if, for example, he says he's going to preference the Liberals in the next election?
Well, I think it actually would be more of a worry for Mr Danby and how this will play out. And he really is really showing his inability, I think, to manage his own seat, because he actually relied on Greens' preferences to win his seat. He actually was only just ahead of the Liberals in the last election. He was sitting on 38%, Liberals on 37%. The Greens got 20% in that seat, and he needed our preferences to win his own seat.
But are your politics just far too left for the majority of Australians?
But I'm a member of the Greens. What Mr Danby was talking about, most of it's highly inaccurate. It's when I'm a young teenager and in my 20s. I've been very open about my political work. I'm a proud member of the Greens. That's where my politics stand. We're not extreme. Our politics are very much in keeping where many Australians want the government to move to.
Finally, we've heard from the Refugee Action Coalition today speaking out about the Malaysian solution, describing the Prime Minister and her government's approach as racist. Do you agree with Ian Rintoul?
Look, I wouldn't have used that term myself. The Greens are clearly on the record of disagreeing with the government position on refugees. We believe that mandatory sentencing should end and people should be handled in Australia. That's where you should have the processing within the community. Sarah Hanson-Young has spelt that out very clearly. I wouldn't have used that term at all.
Do you think when you get into the Senate you will have to change your terminology and perhaps some of your beliefs if you're to back your own party and the government?
Look, I was in the state parliament for 10, 11 years. I've been in the Greens for 20 years. I'm very much part of the Greens. I'm conscious that there's a lot of slurs going on about my work. Why that's going on is really because we're about to move into balance of power in our own right. That's why there is so much misinformation about myself and about the Greens, and the bulk of it's wrong.
OK, well, Lee Rhiannon, soon to be Greens Senator, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you.